I got some big stuff for you. More parents are coming out today and reporting, and I've got the documents that I've gotten online from folks. More parents of Wylie ISD in Wylie, Texas, in North Texas, Dallas-Fort Worth, where I'm at. More parents are saying that Qurans are being passed out to 8th graders in their classroom, along with the Quran alphabet, where you can trace over it or something, so you can learn Quran. Farsi or Arabic, so they can read the Quran with their friends in school. This is unbelievable. And I also have several people who have reached out to me that follow me on social media, watch the podcast, and are saying that they worked in the office of Wylie East High, where this is going on, as well as in the central office, what they know in the central office. But this is the big one here. I'm going to show you some pictures in just a second of what parents have put out today. First, I want to tell you this, as you already know, but if you don't, you need to know. This show is brought to you by IRSprob.com, helping good people with IRS problems, specializing in IRS controversy, IRS audits, and tax planning strategies. Randy Martin is a very good friend of mine, and we are very, very good friends. Today we were texting back and forth, lots of stuff. We're dear friends. Have been for over 8 years. Now, let's get into this, because I'm going to show you some documents right now. These are from this is from a parent of 3. Parents of 3 children in Wylie ISD high school, middle school, and I don't know if I think elementary, but look at this. Watch this. Now, I'm going to show you 3 documents. As you can see, I blacked out, I redacted the name of the couple and their pictures because I don't want to get them heat. But they told this publicly on a Wylie parent forum. Now I'm going to show you the second page of it, okay? And I'll be reading this off to you. But I want to share it with you so you can see it for yourself. This is real, authentic, and this was posted today, okay? I'm going to read it to you. Now. It's unbelievable. Here we go. This is a group of parents. This is a couple who has 3 children in Wylie ISD schools in Wylie, Texas. I heard about the Wylie ISD meeting yesterday and could not attend. By the way, I have more footage from yesterday. You're going to see an Islamic woman say unbelievable things that I told you about that were jaw-dropping, that she expects. Some of these Muslim parents expect unbelievably preferential treatment towards Islam, the Quran being passed out in schools. There's no harm. You're going to see it for yourself thanks to some folks that I've linked up with, and we follow each other now, and they got some more coverage. One of the people that I didn't get to talk to yesterday is one of the patriots out there, Kaylee Campbell. She's going to be coming on next week with me. We were going back and forth today on messaging. But let me read this to you, okay? This is a couple posting today on a Wylie parent group for the Wylie ISD. I heard about the Wylie ISD meeting yesterday, could not attend because I had other obligations. However, I do feel that many Wylie citizens and children in school should be made aware that others are being affected by what I feel is a huge religious push going on during school hours in our school district, a huge religious push in school hours. We can't stay silent about the events taking place in our schools, and yes, I said schools. I have 3 children, 3 different Wylie ISD schools. I have a high schooler, a junior high student, and a child in elementary school. I was already alarmed by the Qurans and Sharia law pamphlets being passed out at the high school, and thankfully my high schooler was not exposed to that. But some were, as I told you, many were. She says, however, my 8th grader was personally, she and he is a couple, my 8th grader was personally handed a Quran. An 8th grader, so now it's going beyond Wylie East High. An 8th grader was personally handed a Quran and another book called The Quran Made Simple. Brainwashing our kids inside of a classroom. The Quran and a book called The Quran Made Simple by a student at the junior high. Now you hear the parents are apparently putting the kids up to this and saying to their children that are Islamic, pass this out in schools. They're apparently trying to push from every angle to Islamify our schools and our children right out from underneath us. This is insane. Remember what I told you too about CBS 11 report? I played you the audio of some white chick that was like 17 probably, and she was interviewed by CBS 11, and she said when this all started coming out, I don't think it's any big deal. It's no big deal. That's exactly where they want you. She says, my child was given a Quran and a book called Quran Made Simple by a student inside of her classroom in junior high, 8th grade. Given these items in a gift bag with candy. That's the same thing they're giving away inside of Wylie East High. Qurans and candy and hijabs. My child was given these items in a gift bag with candy. It's like a Chester the Child Molester thing. Listen, my child says the friend's mom assembled the gift bag to give them. This happened during class time at the junior high. Now, they're literally interfering in the middle of class with your child's education, having their children pass out candy, Qurans, and the Quran Made Simple. Holy crap. I accidentally stumbled upon these books in my 8th grade child's book bag while searching for something else. I also found a piece of paper with what I believe looks like the Arabic alphabet written in pencil. My child said their friend had given these items to them on the very same day, Monday, World Hijab Day. This, to me, is a push from the Islamic community with the blessings of some school administrators like at Wylie East High. This is a push apparently from the Muslim community to pass out all this stuff with candy to convert your freaking child in school, in multiple schools, in multiple grade levels. This is serious. This is really serious. The mom says, my child said the friend had given these items to them on the very same day when the religious exposure happened at Wylie East. The friend wanted my child to learn Arabic so they could read the Quran. Again, the mom put this together and said, give it to the kid in class. Don't study what we're doing in class. No. Read the Quran. Holy crap. This is insane. If anyone feels this is not a direct religious push on our children, clearly they're not paying attention. I immediately told my child to return these items to their friend. My husband and I, listen closely to this, because my wife and I homeschooled our children who are now graduated from college and in college. My husband and I are currently looking into other schooling. She says, of course we want them to have a decent education like all parents do. However, we want them to be around good influences that do not contradict what we have spent our lives teaching them. They're trying to turn your children Islamic. They're trying to do it against right out under your nose, against your wishes, and do it at the blessing of a tacit and I believe not only tacit but willing Wylie ISD. Holy gosh, I'm sitting here, I get some goosebumps. Our children are precious, so she's going to pull out her kids. We want them to have a decent education, but we want them to be around good influences that do not contradict what we spent our lives teaching them. Huge thanks to those who stood up for right at the school board meeting last night. This is absolutely ridiculous and must stop. You're going to see some things I didn't show you last night. You're going to see an Islamic woman say the kind of stuff that shows why children and adults are in schools passing out Qurans to turn your child into an Islamic Islam worshiper, Muhammad worshiper. Here is a young woman who sent me this, who follows me. Chris, I worked and served, I won't say what they did specifically, but I worked and served as in the administrative area at Wylie East last year, says this young woman. And I left mid-September. She is exactly how everyone is discovering her to be, the principal of Wylie East High, Principal Dooley, who I've told you about. She's the one that took a picture with herself wearing hijab, saying it was awesome, I loved it, all caps, loved it, here it is. That's Principal Dooley at Wylie East. She was there last night. She's the one who I played a little video of to you just a minute ago, showing that she hid from me when I came and asked her questions. She hid from me. This is the young lady who she said, if I'm being perfectly honest, she worked last year with Wylie East in the administration area. If I'm being perfectly honest, the principal, Tiffany Doolin, she could care less about her students and community. Knowing her that day, she came up to the table to a photo, smiled, and walked away. She didn't care. She takes photos to make herself look good. This is the young woman, I won't show her picture, who sent it to me. Oh, that's the the post that she sent me. That I printed it out. This is another person who's involved in Wylie ISD with children in Wylie ISD that sent this to me. I printed it out. I'm going to read you the highlight. Chris, the previous superintendent, David Vinson, claimed that Wylie ISD, he recently left for a new job, he claimed that Wylie ISD did not have a DEI program, for example, but they really did. When the BLM and kneeling was happening, he and many of the current, now this is an allegation from a follower, I'm not going to say I know this to be true, but this is an allegation because if I didn't see it, but I looked up the names here, and these are the names. When the BLM and kneeling was happened, he and many of the current school board members kneeled at a graduation ceremony. Then there was a problem with unapproved anti-police material used by teachers in one of the middle schools. Kim Spicer, the new superintendent, was his assistant superintendent. I looked up to make sure that was accurate. The school gave her the job after Vincent left without ever interviewing other candidates. I don't know that for a fact. Vincent got in trouble for illegally campaigning for many of the current school boards. She's saying that these people are all in lockstep. And they all are the ones that all these parents and children are telling me, if you speak up at Wylie ISD, you are attacked. They need to throw every school board member and that principal from Wylie East and anyone else who supports the Islamification of our children in Wylie ISD out on the street to get a job in some other radical Islamic supporting place. I'm not trying to attack Muslims. I'm trying to attack anyone trying to get into our kids and Islamify them against our wishes in a public school. He says we need to vote out every member of the school board. I would agree, because I was there last night and spoke at it, and I saw, but I didn't like what I saw. In fact, let's go to that right now. I've got video of that. Thanks to this first one is thanks to, as I mentioned, she'll be on my podcast next week, Kaylee Campbell. We follow each other, and she'll be joining me next week. She's a warrior all over the place. Anyways, she got this video last night. This is the Muslim woman I was telling you about. I told you about this. Now I have the video thanks to Kaylee. This is a Muslim woman who went insanely over her time. I was sitting in the crowd, and we were all yelling at this. And because of our yelling, they were allowing the Muslim parents to speak over time, way over time limit. We all had 2 minutes. She spoke at probably 2.5, maybe even closer to 3 minutes. And eventually we started going nuts about it, and then that got them to drag her out. But watch this. You can see on the screen. You'll see on the screen there's a red circle, meaning you're out of time, and she keeps going and going and going and going and going.
Come on! Of all Christians, or the death of all Christians. Yeah, cut your heads off. There's fair. Your line's up. Let's go. Cut your heads off. You need to go around.
So somebody was coming to get her, but that was after, I mean, we were going nuts because she was already going 10, 15 seconds over before that video started, and we were all in awe that they weren't doing to the Muslim folk what they were doing to us, which was when we go over, they go, dun, 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 stop, time's over, time's over. They did not do that to her. We had to shut it down. And then by our calling this out is when they finally, so the clear message is this. And now you're going to hear from an Islamic woman who spoke that's going to drop your jaw on what she says. We have to break this down because there is an expectation it appears to me there's a expectation in the Muslim community in Wylie ISD to get treated differently by being treated much better, to get away with much more that we're not allowed to get away with, and to be able to proselytize when we're not allowed to proselytize, to be able to not just proselytize, but to convert our children against our wishes when we're not allowed to convert their children. This is exactly what I told you, and in my speech I mentioned this last night. Very important before I play this. CARE, the Council on American Islamic Relations, is a foreign terrorist organization, as Governor Abbott designated them, because CARE is an unindicted co-conspirator in the largest ever terrorism fundraising case in United States history. From Richardson, Texas-based, suburban Dallas, Richardson-based Holy Land Foundation. The Holy Land Foundation raised $5 to $7 million approximately to kill Jews, pretending it was for Palestinian aid. And CARE was in a hotel room with the Holy Land Foundation in Boston and was wiretapped by the FBI, saying, CARE said, we need to wage jihad, a nonviolent jihad. We need to use the laws and the freedoms and the media to turn the country against itself while we gain more members. We convert. We use everything in the freedoms of this land and the media against the people to conquer for Islam. CARE sued to get their name removed because it was in the official court documents. It was the FBI, Department of Justice, said, you are an unindicted. We didn't indict you, but you're a co-conspirator with the people. And those people from the Holy Land Foundation, several went to jail for decades for raising money to kill Jews. Millions and millions and millions. Largest ever in this country's history. And CARE was in on it. CARE sued afterwards to try to remove their name as an unindicted co-conspirator. And the judge said, no, you are and you always will be an unindicted co-conspirator. Now, let's go to this Muslim lady that spoke. And CARE was the one group that spoke in defense of these people passing out Qurans and hijabs and said there was nothing wrong with it. Watch this. That was on WFA TV Channel 8. I played the audio of it for you. Watch this Muslim woman, what she says and what she expects. I'm going to jump back in here and there when I feel like it.
Go to Wylie High School. I just want to just tell you a bit about World Hijab Day. Is basically celebrated annually in over 150 countries. And the main purpose is basically to foster religious tolerance and to combat discrimination against Muslim women. It invites females of all backgrounds, faiths, to experience the beauty of hijab, promoting understanding, tolerance.
Okay, so we are coming into your school with adults. Adults are proselytizing to your children and passing out understanding Sharia, Qurans, and hijabs. And we're doing this, she says, for tolerance. We're doing this to fight discrimination. We're doing this for togetherness. It's a lie. She's doing it they're doing it, not just her, but they're doing this, not for understanding and tolerance, to convert our freaking kids. And I'm not trying to be rude and nasty. It's to convert our children. It is illegal, and she says, no, this is for tolerance. This is all the kind of stuff that CARE was saying on that tape with the wiretap in the Holy Land case. Let's go on.
It seeks to create empathy. It supports freedom of choice, that every woman has a right to choose her attire. And you cannot discriminate a person just because of what they are wearing, right?
Everyone has a right to choose their attire. Is that why you're trying to put a hijab on my daughter or your daughter if they're in that school? Every woman has a right to choose. That's why you're passing these out to my kid against my wishes without my knowledge? Let's continue on.
So this is what we were trying to, basically this event is about. So I really appreciate the Wylie ISD for giving us the opportunity to celebrate this event. And we've been doing it for the past few years.
Thank you to Wylie ISD for allowing us to come in and proselytize to children. Thank you, Wylie ISD. There is nothing wrong with adults coming in and illegally proselytizing and passing out Qurans, hijabs, and understanding Sharia pamphlets with Why Islam bags and candy. Thank you, Wylie ISD, because you know, wink, wink, and we know, no wink, I know this, is what she's saying, this is perfectly normal. It may be perfectly normal, and she's got a heavy accent. Maybe she's from, I'm not ripping on her here. I'm not being personal, but maybe she's from Pakistan. Maybe she's from India, is one of the Muslim populations there. It's the second largest religious population in India. It's very small comparatively. But that crap ain't here. So, and that's the thing. She may think this is normal. She's horribly wrong. But the administration of Wylie ISD should know better. But they bow to Islam. Let's continue on.
And never it has happened what happened this time. And
Never has it happened. It's normal to come in and do this to your children. Never have we been stopped. What we do is normal, coming into your schools for your kids.
The volunteers at the booth are generally have background checks, and I do understand the parents' concern.
The adults that were doing this to your children in the middle of the school day, right in front of the lunchroom, they had background checks, really? Everything that we've been told is they had no background checks. There's a specific system they use. I think it's called the Raptor system. And guess what? State Senator Paxton, Angela Paxton, literally, the young Republican, Marco told me yesterday, one of the two young Republican heads, said that Angela Paxton had to do a background check. And yet, the Islamic people that proselytize to your kids don't.
Over security issue. I'm a parent myself. I'm always scared of my kids' security. So I assure you that all the protocols were followed generally.
Everything was followed. What is wrong with adults proselytizing to your children in a public school and passing out Qurans and Sharia? There's nothing wrong here. Put your hijab on. You're the one with the problem.
And also the booth is not disrupting any school operations. So I don't know why so much hate is being created after this small, event, which we generally do this event to try to promote more tolerance.
Why are you upset? This is normal for adults to come in. Wow.
So I encourage the board to ensure that the MSA is not, Muslim Student Association at Wylie High School is not discriminated in future due to some political rhetoric.
Yeah, don't discriminate. That's what the whole stealth jihad, the nonviolent jihad that CARE talked about.
Hate-driven narrative. Students of all faiths and backgrounds should feel more welcome and not looked down upon just because of their faith or the way they dress up. That is the main reason. Thank you, everyone.
We need to be quiet.
Okay, so here's the problem. The problem is she's now saying at the end there about, hate, discrimination, we need to be allowed to do this. And the whole premise is illegal, what they did. And it's unbelievable. I want to just see that because that's the attitude of many of the Muslims that spoke last night. And there is a huge cultural and legal divide that either they don't understand or they don't care because they think that Islam is it above all, and they must violate every law and rule to get more converts. I believe, unfortunately, I'm not trying to be mean, I believe for most of the people that we're hearing from, that's what they think. My understanding of Islam is that you're allowed to lie if it's for the furtherance of Islam. That's what I've been told for years and what I've read about for years. So that should definitely concern you, frighten you, etc. This is, what else do I got for you here? Okay, I want to show you something else too because this is so incredible. A lady I think it was last night in Frisco. There's a woman, and I won't say her name. We're going back and forth communicating on Twitter. But there's a woman, and you'll see her. She says her first name. She went to the Frisco, City of Frisco's city council meeting, and she spoke. And this woman did not even think anything would go viral. She says she has been witnessing, and she's going to say it all herself, not me, but she says she's been witnessing as a realtor in apartment complexes and in houses, buying and renting, mass fraud with Indians who may be using fraud to even get a place with papers and paperwork. And then either they do it legally, but then she says they are allowing illegal after illegal after illegal to come in and occupy that same unit for Indian nationals. She says similar type of stuff with false, with mortgage fraud or real estate fraud is going on. I'm going to let her speak for herself. This is what she says, and this was so powerful. This is going to blow up even more. You're seeing it here first. And if you're not, you saw it somewhere else before that, great. She's contemplating coming on the podcast, but we're in touch, and she's amazing. Let me just play this for you without any further ado. Her name is Angela, I believe. Here we go.
Ian Giotti. Hey, guys. I'm Kelly. I live in
Sorry, Kelly.
I'm a formal Frisco resident, but my kids still live in Frisco and work in Frisco as well. The rapid demographics change in Frisco is the result of steering the Indian community for tax benefits at the expense of locals losing jobs and massive culture change. I hold a Texas real estate license, and I was an assistant property manager for a company that owns apartment communities in Frisco and in their surrounding areas. In the apartments, a person from India will come in, fill out an application, and they will get approved. And then on move-in day, the qualifying person is nowhere to be found, but a friend will be picking up the keys, and the next thing you know, the original leaseholder is back in India and impossible to get a hold of. That means the person who actually moved in did not have to qualify like everybody else. That is a fair housing issue. Let one applicant who got denied find out, and that is a massive lawsuit waiting to happen. It's happening on such a large scale in Frisco and Plano that is impossible to police. Once an apartment gets in Indian hands, it's over. If they want to move out, they don't honestly let the management company know. They advertise it on various Indian Facebook groups and apps and make sure they do an apartment change to another person from India. No other race or nationality has a chance, and that's only accounting the people that are doing the changes through the office staff. I also see people who were evicted because their job was replaced by H-1B workers, and that can keep you from renting for 4 to 7 years, depending. Meanwhile, people from India are walking in, not even going through the proper channels to apply, while Texans are going homeless. Part of the application process is a background check to make sure you have no felonies and to make sure you are legally here. When they don't go through the proper channels to apply, we don't know who our neighbors are. There is also a lot of crime on top of the fair housing stuff. One apartment in particular had many complaints that people from India were rotating through it like it was a hotel room. Once the apartment was back in our hands, I had to do a move-out inspection, and I found this. It has a name, a passport number, and an address. You can forge documents, such as visas, with somebody else's passport number. This information was on display for anybody coming in to use for whatever reason. I've also witnessed fake technology companies hiring entry-level H-1Bs and paying for 10 apartments at a time while also supplying them with all of their groceries that they need. I have seen too much to talk about in 5 minutes. I have witnessed Americans being laid off in Frisco because their team went to Indian workers, so they had to move back to the state that they came from. The same scammers in the apartments are the ones moving on to buy the houses. The Grove in Frisco boasts this realtor named Ram on their website as being an essential part of their team because 75%, probably more, of his client base is South Asians. Boosting a real estate agent because he can bring you a high percentage of a certain nationality of buyers goes directly against TREC rule number 531.19, discriminatory practices. No license holder shall make a disclosure of the owner or potential purchaser based on race, color, religion, or sex or national origin. That is going on all over Indian Facebook groups on an ongoing basis. I had a local doctor in Frisco on a Frisco forum tell me that a lot of his high income earning clientele are also receiving full Social Security disability. H-1B holders found a way to get FHA government-backed loans, and let's not touch on the fact that India recently discovered thousands of fake medical degrees and certifications used to get jobs in medicine, nursing, and engineering. The lie, scam, and corruption just keeps coming to light. It seems like the Indian community is coming here, living above the rules, taking jobs, and not assimilating. So somebody like me who sees the scams and the lies and absolutely trash these apartment communities are becoming, isn't impressed that they can buy a massive house because, like the apartments, the houses will eventually be trashed as well. Once Frisco became more developed after the mall opened back in the 90s, it was always an affluent area with high income earners. We already had doctors, engineers, and whatnot. So when we get told that these are our doctors and our engineers, it's insulting to somebody like me who has had to hand an engineer or a project manager a tissue after eviction court because somebody from India came in and took their job. It's sad to see the city of Frisco used to be beautiful farmland and fresh air, and now it's nothing but student driving stickers. I had a Muslim man spit in my face when I was walking to work in Frisco. And let me tell you guys, he yelled racial slurs in my ear, and I will say this. It's rude to come into someone else's country and tell them how to live. This is America. Women have rights, and we are done sitting back and being quiet about this. I hope more people start speaking up. Save our American daughters before it's too late. Also, if knowing that American workers are losing their jobs and being displaced at the hands of foreign workers doesn't bother you, you shouldn't hold any political office in this country. The education, safety, and economic growth of Texans should be priority number one. So we need to stop pandering to foreign workers and start putting Texans first. Thank you.
I got goosebumps. I am honored that Kelly and I follow each other, and I am honored that she said she had no idea this was going to blow up, and I am honored that she's considering coming on my podcast because this is way too much for her. She wanted to get this out. What I want to say, I believe her. I believe her allegations. I believe her credibility, just based on what I sense as a woman who is exasperated, cares deeply, has seen this go on for years, and is overwhelmed. She says she had no idea, she told me today in our correspondence, she had no idea this would blow up like it has. I'm so glad it is. She was desperate. She has seen this and the wrongs, and she has literally decided to stand up and say something, and that is so important. And I think the city of Frisco City Council needs an enema. The city council needs an enema. There are some really, really rotten things here. I believe her, and I think we need Ken Paxton to investigate this. We need Colin County to investigate this, and we need the Department of Justice, Department of HUD, Housing and Urban Development, and every department that can to look into this, like they're looking into Epic City / the Meadows, like they're looking into this city they're trying to build, the separate city that could be another Muslim-type city in Kaufman County. She is exasperated, overwhelmed, and desperate to get this out, and she did it. And I'm very proud of her. Way to go, Kelly. Way to go. I want to tell you this, too. I got so much more about, you're going to see apparently violent professional leftists. At the very least, violent adult leftist Marxist in charge of, or marching with, not in charge of per se, but marching with and encouraging children to do violence on these ICE walkouts in Fort Worth ISD. Thank God they're being taken over by the state. But first I want to tell you this. My CPA is Randy Martin. Randy has been my CPA for about 8 years now, and we have had issues with our taxes. I run a business. This is my business. I've been running it for several years now, filling in for stations and networks all over the country, and Randy has been my CPA for my business as it's exploded and grown tremendously and continues to. He's also my wife's CPA for her business and for our CPA, our finances in general. Also for my son, my daughter, we've had to do some refiling and some issues with them. So IRSprob.com, and they're right here local, hyper-local, man, in North Dallas, /Addison at Quorum Drive and the Tollway, Beltline and the Tollway. But they can do it for anywhere in the Metroplex. They can do it for anywhere in the country, helping good people with IRS problems, specializing in IRS controversy, IRS audits, and tax planning strategies. Randy Martin is your guy. IRSprob.com, as Randy says it. We were texting back and forth earlier. IRSprob.com. In fact, I'm going to have him on in the near future about some tax issues that are in the news, okay? Meantime, State Board of Education member Brandon Hall. I'm going to reach out to him, too, because this is amazing what he did. Remember this? I talked about this yesterday. This came through the Dallas Express. Some pictures. That's a student who left Arlington Heights High in Fort Worth ISD. They're flying Mexican flags. He's standing on top of a pedestrian walkway over I-30. He could get killed. That's the walkouts before ISD, the useful idiots that the left would be proud of. Now, I'm going to show you something from that post, from that protest. State Board of Education member Brendan Hall went up to an adult that was with these kids and confronted him. And watch this. This is at the actual protest I just showed you a picture of. Here he is. This absolute violent leftist crazed Marxist who is marching with these kids and says there's nothing wrong with getting dangerous and all this stuff. Watch this.
Let's take a look at the adult.
So if that kid would have fell off the top of that bridge, then what would you have done?
Sometimes you have to do the outrageous to overcome the outrageous bullshit we deal with every
Do the
day.
outrageous. So use children.
You know what?
Use
I
children.
absolutely promoted that. I'm
Really?
glad he did that. I hope the people that drove by
Really?
noticed it. I hope they saw what he was protesting.
You promoted
Because it
him
matters.
walking on top of the
It matters
bridge.
yesterday, it matters today, and it matters tomorrow.
You
So
promoted
take your
him walking on
comb-over
top of the
bullshit,
bridge.
Pull piece of shit ass out of my face.
You promoted him walking across the bridge.
I
Thank you.
absolutely promoted that kid
thank you
getting
so
your
much for saying
dumbass attention.
Thank you for saying that.
I promote that kid getting your dumb ass
I
attention.
really appreciate you saying that. I do.
Congratulations.
How would you like your child to go to a public school like that, where adults are encouraging children to do violence and marching with your child? Would you want that man anywhere near your child? Wow. Brandon Hall, State Board of Education member, was there and recorded that. Thank you, Brandon, for what you're doing, and I'm so glad the State Board of Education is taking over. The TEA is taking over Fort Worth ISD. You can see why. Holy crap. What's his name? James Talarico is lying. He is lying and like a rug, saying. I think I have a post, one of his posts, if I'm not mistaken. Look. I don't think I pulled it up because I don't need to. James Talarico is lying and saying he was kicked off of The Late Show with Stephen Colbert because CBS lawyers and because Trump said so. That is a lie. And a lot of the mainstream media and the left are lying about this too, and they know it. But James Talarico is the biggest liar, and he super knows it, and he's a liar. That's what he is. He said that it was Trump lawyers and pressure from the FCC, but it is very simple. Equal time does not apply, and I'm quoting election lawyer and talk host and blogger and friend Eric Erickson, who's an expert in election stuff, and also a broadcaster like I am. Equal time does not apply during outside of election times. So when on a broadcast, doesn't matter what we're doing, what I'm doing. I'm not broadcasting. I am podcasting. I'm streaming. I'm on social media and such. It applies to broadcast, whether it's radio or TV. During the election season, during the election time, that is when, particularly during voting and early voting. This is early voting right now. Early voting started yesterday, Tuesday. So during early voting, you cannot have on, by law, on broadcast, which doesn't matter whether it's a late show or it's an early show or it's a news show or a comedy show, you cannot have on a candidate that is running for office during the election time unless you have on every candidate. And that's designed so you don't give an in-kind donation in millions and millions of dollars or help raise millions and millions of dollars for one campaign over another. So James Talarico could not go on The Late Show by law, regardless of who the president is, whether it was Biden or Hussein Obama or Trump. He could not go on without having Jazzy Crockett, not even know the third Democrat who's running. I don't know who that poor sap is. But Jazzy was not asked, is what she said. So look at this. And this is from Dana Perino this morning on Fox News. TV ads. 60 million is what John Cornyn has. 10 million for Wesley Hunt. Ken Paxton has 2.3 million. Talarico has 15 million. Crockett has 3 million. And a candidate gets to buy time. He just got $2.5 million over the YouTube interview that he did with Stephen Colbert, complaining that somehow they're victims, which is a lie. Talarico raised $2.5 million over the YouTube interview that what's his name did, Colbert did with him yesterday. $2.5 million. Now here's what Dana Perino said: a candidate gets to buy TV time at a lower rate when they're doing their political ads for running for office. So he got $2.5 million over this stunt. So he got more than Paxton. He got, it's unbelievable in one day. Now, that's fine. These are all out-of-towners. This is just like Beto Hussein O'Rourke, the cultural appropriator, the fake Mexican. One of my in-laws, or one of my immediate relatives, is a raging liberal. And he told me way back when with Beto Hussein O'Rourke, he's like, I'm giving money to him. I literally said, that's fine, he's still going to lose. It was nothing. It was just, that's fine, period. He's still going to lose, period. And that's what happened. And that's what's going to happen to Talarico. Jazzy's going to win it. She's polling much better than him. Remember, he called, what's his name? I got his name in my head, face in my head, but I don't have his name. He called Colin Allred. He called him a mediocre black man, according to a Democrat insider from Dallas-Fort Worth. That she put that up on, a black lady put that up on TikTok. That's what Talarico said? Talarico said, I didn't call him a mediocre black man. I called him a mediocre politician. She's like, no, it was about race. And then Jazzy. So you're not going to get one black person that's going to vote for this guy. You will not. Every black person who's a Democrat or moderate Democrat is going to vote for Jazzy Crockett. They will never vote for this guy. He will not win. So good times. They're wasting their money and lies. James Talarico is an absolute bald-faced liar on this. From Axios today, Colbert slams CBS statement accusing Paramount of not standing up to bullies. There's no bullying. It's simple law. So they're lying. That's okay. Only somebody like Colbert would play victim. We have a woke BLM Marxist activist lady who, I told you about this yesterday, the trial of 11 terrorists, Antifa terrorists that tried to murder ICE agents and hit in the neck an Alvarado police officer outside of the ICE Prairieland detention facility in Alvarado, Texas, just outside of DFW, kind of in the Metroplex. They shot it up. They tried to draw it out with fireworks, with slashing tires, and spray painting ice pig on cars to draw out the ICE agents to kill them. They called 911. They didn't take the bait. They said, "Get the rifles, is what I read in one of the reports yesterday from when that happened. And the first people to show up was a lieutenant with Alvarado Police. He was shot right in the neck. He shot back and, I believe, killed one of those terrorists, but there were 18. 7 have pleaded guilty, 11 of them, including their alleged ringleader, cult-like ringleader, Benjamin Song, an Asian Antifa member, and several Trantifa people who identify as trans. Antifa material was found, dozens of guns, other Antifa stuff material were found when they did raids. So the 11 people that are on trial, separate from the 7 others who pleaded guilty, these 11 face 20 years to life if convicted, and they will be convicted. Their case was thrown out for a mistrial yesterday because their woke attorney I told you about was wearing black activists and black people who have killed cops and such, like a sweatshirt underneath her blazer to send a message to the potential juries while they're doing voir dire, which is voir dire, which is where they do jury selection. They go through and pick jurors. She was wearing that, and the judge literally said, "You're wearing something telling them what's a message and what you're looking for, and trying to recruit them and say that you're some kind of a hero here for civil rights." Mistrial declared. So the woke lady has been, Dallas Express showed some pictures of this woke attorney. She's running for judge, of course, in Tarrant County. God help the people that would vote for her. Where is this woke judge? It's great. Here she is. Let's see our woke judge candidate and the woke lawyer who was just thrown out with a mistrial because of her embarrassing activist and incompetence. Here she is. Look at that nice woke lawyer. Look at her. She looks like Minnie Mouse, woke Minnie Mouse. Now, hold on. There's another picture of her, and it's a picture of shame. Where is her picture? There's a picture of shame of her somewhere where she's walking. I thought I had it from CBS 11. Doug Dunbar had it. Man, I guess I didn't get it for you, but there's a picture of her walking, and she's walking, and she's had her sweatshirt turned inside out with her blazer. It's so great. It's so humiliating for the woke lawyer. So there she is. Here we go. Mistrial declared in Antifa ICE ambush trial over a defense attorney's T-shirt. It had, her name is Marquetta Clayton. Woketta Clayton is her name. Woketta. She had Martin Luther King Jr., Harriet Tubman, Communist Party USA member Angela Davis, and she was acquitted for murder, conspiracy, and kidnapping in a 1970 courtroom shootout that killed a judge, a militant, and 2 inmates, reports Dallas Express. The sweatshirt also featured the cop killer, Assata Shakur, Black Liberation Army, Black Panther, convicted of killing a New Jersey state trooper during a traffic stop. So she's a terrorist supporter. And she's incompetent. That's why it was a mistrial. Clayton left the courthouse wearing her shirt inside out, reported Doug Dunbar. It was so nice. It was so humiliating. Walk of shame. I wish I had that picture up. I don't know why I forgot it. I apologize. Should be in my repertoire of pictures, but I guess I forgot. So there you go. She's running in the Woketta Clayton is running in the Democrat primary March 3rd for judge of the 371st District Court. According to Ballotpedia, says the Dallas Express, one day after triggering the mistrial, she posted her endorsement of the Northeast Tarrant County. She posted her endorsement from the Northeast Tarrant County Democrats. We endorse. What's her name again? Woketta Clayton. Let's go to Tony Gonzales and the allegations of Tony Gonzales. I'm going to show you a text. That is a text from a former fellow staffer of Congressman Tony Gonzales. This poor, sweet woman self-immolated. You know what that means. She lit herself on fire, and she died because of self-immolation. Important note as this develops, by the way, because the San Antonio Express News, or as we call it, I fill in regularly in San Antonio. I'll be filling in on Friday morning at News Talk 550 KTSA and FM 107.1. I filled in for years for great talent. We know them all. They're very good friends of mine, all of them. But I'll be filling in for Jack Riccardi, the professor, 10 a.m. on Friday morning this week. So this will probably still be on the news, but the San Antonio Excuse News, a.k.a. Express News, withdrew their endorsement of Tony Gonzales today because of that that text that they believe proves that he was having an affair with that staffer who then self-immolated, and he's lying about it still, is what it appears they believe. The San Antonio outlet says the congressman has questions to answer. Then Gonzales told me in a statement, this is from Josh Christensen, I believe, a reporter. Gonzales told me in a statement that he's not going to engage in these personal smears. Yeah, you know why you're not going to engage in personal smears? Because then you have to answer for what happened. I'm going to tell you right now, if you are accused of having an affair with a staffer and it's allegedly proven with a text, and she self-immolates, that's where I draw my red line, pal. You know what? And they say he's a Christian and a guy with children and all, 6 kids and a wife. Here's the thing. If you have an affair, own it. If you have a staffer that you had an affair with and both of you guys were married and that she kills herself, self-immolates, that's a red line, dude. It's just over. I'm not going to support somebody who is accused of having an affair with somebody that self-immolated, one of their staffers that worked for them. It's over. I mean, that's kind of where I draw my red line, huh? He's facing allegations of having an affair with an aide, Regina Ana Santos Aviles. She committed suicide in September 2025. She wrote, I had an affair with our boss, which I shared that. It was newly reported today by the San Antonio Express News, Excuse News, if you will. A former staffer told Gonzales, from Gonzales' office, told the outlet, the Express News, that she admitted to the affair in 2024, then fell into depression after her husband learned of the relationship, and then he claims that Tony Gonzales, Congressman Gonzales, cut her off, and that may have led to her desperation and killed herself. It's just over, dude. It's over. No, hard pass. And then Tony says, people throwing rocks at me saying I'm doing nasty things. I totally get that, but the rumors are completely untruthful. Maybe they are, but I'm going to stick with this young woman. And the Express News, of all places. Broken clock is right twice a day. Tony Gonzales said this too. This is from Channel 8's coverage. I'm not going to engage in these personal smears and instead will remain focusing on helping President Trump secure the border. I know why you want to engage in things, because then you'll have to answer. Here's another story from Fox 4 and Dallas Express. Families withdraw from Hazlitt Christian School over presence of registered sex offender on staff. Caleb Crawford, son of Heritage Baptist Church pastor Eric Crawford. Court records show he was indicted in 2016 for indecency with a child involving sexual conduct. The victim was a 12-year-old girl. The parents say it best. If someone would have told us about this 4 years ago, when we were looking to enroll, we would never have put our kids in there. During a Tuesday meeting with the principal, the Baileys, his family featured on Fox 4, said a lot of the staff knew about this for a very long time. The amount of destruction of people's faith when churches cover up or do this kind of stuff, and by not telling people, you're covering it up and you're lying. This hurts people's faith. This hurts people, your witness. This destroys things. And that school should, I would not be surprised if every parent leaves it, and I would never go to a school like that. And this guy, whose son is a sex offender, according to these reports, Pastor Eric Crawford, I would never want to have him be a pastor anywhere. He should never be a pastor anywhere again. Hooking his son up so he can what? You know, when they pray once on somebody, they don't stop. That little chip in their brain that has them do these vile things doesn't ever go away. That desire never goes away. So there we go. Now, the Dallas Express says indictment. I don't know if he was convicted, but I did hear from Fox 4 today, though, that he's a registered sex offender, is my belief. So, wow. Yeah, he did. He served jail time and must register as a sex offender for life. So, a sex offender was put on staff because he's the pastor's son. That guy should never be a pastor ever again. Not the son. The son obviously shouldn't be around children. That's illegal, I believe, for a sex offender. But the pastor should never be anybody's pastor ever again. He should never be working for a Christian church anywhere, anyhow, on anything. I guess that says enough. This is a comical piece from Fox 4. Not ripping on Fox 4. I'm ripping on this man who's pleading for his wife's release from ICE. Officials saw a Dallas man pleads for his wife's release after ICE detention during immigration check-in, says Fox 4. His wife is a Cuban woman. They're married, and she's got they got a 15-year-old child. She is in a detention facility 200 miles away, and I'm glad she is. She was removed from our country as an illegal. She did immigration fraud. She was previously removed in 2018 for trying to enter the United States under a fraudulent Peruvian passport. She's a Cubano. She's a Cuban. She made a fake Peruvian passport. The first act was to come in illegally and with illegal fake documents. That was her first act. So she was deported in 2018 for that, for fraud, and for coming in illegally. And second of all, she illegally re-entered second time in August 9th of 2022 under Joe Biden's open borders. That is a felony. When you come as a second time after being deported, you're now a felon. By the way, fraud to the federal government like that on documents has to be a felony too. This woman is a multiple felon. She illegally re-entered to the southwest border in 2022, a felony offense. There's no record, and this is Fox 4, there's no record of her committing crimes after illegally entering the U.S. Well, there's a felony coming over. And there's a crime with the passport fraud, and there's also a crime of coming over illegally the first time. This husband says, why is this happening? She's not a criminal by any means. Yes, she is, and yes, she should be deported, and she should never come back illegally the second time, and you know it, so deal with it. You chose to have a child and be married to a felon, a multiple-time felon. And I think the comedy piece of the day goes to John Cornyn. The comedy piece of the day goes to John Cornyn, who now is warning of blue Texas if Ken Paxton wins the Senate primary. Ken Paxton, who, last time I checked, I can't remember the exact amount, I think he's leading Cornyn by 12 or 15 or 20, in the primary. Doesn't mean he's going to win in the general, I know that. But Cornyn, the guy who, the first time I got here, the first show I did was at, what's the old station called? KLF, 570 Cliff. I was doing afternoons. When I first got there, my producer, who I love dearly to this day, he's now a teacher in Arlington ISD, he told me that Cornyn is a joke. He said, Cornyn, when we're all talking about a flashpoint that just came out in the news today, a controversial topic that we need him for, Cornyn will not say anything for a week. A week after we've all talked about this controversy, a week after we've all debated it, Cornyn will come out and go, and then go, I am strongly opposed. I am on this. John, you're a week and a half late, and we already debated that, and we've already made up our mind, and when we needed you was a week and a half ago. He's always been that way. I know he has more of a chance of winning in a general because he's more of a moderate Republican, but I prefer Ken Paxton because he has something called huevos, and policies will be better. All right? So we're not going to turn blue if we get Paxton in there. Now, this show is brought to you by IRSprob.com, IRSprob.com, helping good people with IRS problems, specializing in IRS controversy, IRS audits, and tax planning strategies. I will see you tomorrow.